Okay, this morning we're going to do walking meditation. But because one of us is in a wheelchair, I'm going to just very quickly teach this arm meditation that my first teacher, Michelle Calvert, taught to me. And this is the type of meditation that she did with just one hand on her deathbed. She had a stroke and died, and she was paralyzed on one side, wasn't able to speak, but we knew she was meditating because we could see her doing the arm movements. So that was really, anyway, that was just sort of a special moment. So here is if you're confined to a chair or just feel like being sitting down, uh, this is sort of okay. So I'll show the movements first, and then I'll pair them with breathing. So just start with one of your hands, and you turn it, raise it, lower it, touch, turn, raise, lower, touch, and then raise, lower, touch, turn, raise, lower, touch, and turn. So now we can do it with the breath. So it'll be slow because you're going to be watching your breath and pairing the movements to your breath, not making your breath go trying to keep up with the movements. So you're going to breathe in, breathe out, 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 breathe in, breathe out. So I'll just do it once more. In, out, 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 in, out. Okay, any questions? Any questions on that? Is that okay? Okay, so today we're going to discuss walking meditation. Now, the Buddha recommends walking meditation, and he actually talks in the suttas about the health benefits of walking meditation, like to help digestion, to help you be strong. And certainly when you're doing an extended meditation retreat, it's just not healthy for your body just to be sitting in one place at a time. And so when you're doing an extended meditation retreat, you break up your sitting meditations with walking meditation, just to keep your body limber. Now, the Buddha recommended walking meditation, but nowhere in the suttas does he give instructions on how to do walking meditation. So everything I'm going to tell you today has been passed down to me by teachers. So, and all these techniques have been devised as skillful means by teachers. They're not the word of the Buddha. They're skillful means that various teachers have devised over the years. And I particularly like Thich Nhat Hanh's method. So that's when I do walking meditation, I use his method. So I'll be showing you a variety of methods this morning. And while I'm demonstrating them, you can get up and I'll tell you when to do a little practice. And then when I finished describing all the various methods, then we'll have a half hour to practice. And then you can do as you wish. You can do a sitting meditation, or if you would like, you could practice doing some of the forms of walking meditation. Now, there's, of course, two ways that you could do this. One is just practicing mindfulness, but not attempting stillness or samadhi. And if you were just practicing mindfulness, it might be like just a walk in the woods where you're aware of your feet touching the ground, but you're also being tuned into the sensory world around you, but staying in the present moment. So at one moment you're hearing a bird sing, another you're looking at the leaves on a tree, the next you might be looking at the sky and the clouds, the next you might be aware of the wind or the breeze on your skin. So it's all staying in the present moment, sort of doing the three-step of meditation. Step one, being in the present moment, just being aware of some sensory experience. And then if your mind wanders and starts thinking about something in the past or the future, or planning something, then it's a gentle, non-judgmental hello, but later. Not talking to you now. And step three, gently bringing your mind back to being in the present moment. What I'm going to be teaching you today is a different style of walking meditation that is conducive to samadhi or stillness. So it would be very similar to our sitting meditation, where we're not attending to the sensory world around us. We're sort of pulling in and just being aware internally, although we're keeping our eyes open, to watch where we're walking, so we don't walk into walls or whatever. And then I'm just going to make a comment about hands. And this I've only heard from Ajahn Brahmali, but I thought it was a very good idea, because when we do our sitting meditation, at the end I always suggest that you take a moment to review, maybe look at impermanence, look at maybe did the hindrances arise, and what were you able to do to abandon them, or did the factors of awakening arise, and are you aware of what conditions you put in place for them to arise, or what did you do to allow them to expand or develop? So in the same way, when we're doing walking meditation, we can be practicing deepening our samadhi, our stillness, or we may be doing some insight practice. And Ajahn Brahm, he just changes whether he has his hands in front of him or behind him, so that it's sort of a signal to his body. This is my samadhi practice, or this is my insight practice. So I think he has his hands in front of him when he's walking to do the samadhi or stillness practice, and then he has his hands behind him for when he's doing his insight. So he's going to be using his thinking, or maybe more observation or whatever powers. But anyway, I thought that was sort of a cool little tip. Okay, now the two main ways I've been taught meditation, and I use both depending on the circumstances, is in the Thai tradition and the Ajahn Chah tradition. You walk at just a normal pace. And so if you've ever gone to Birken Forest Monastery and well, you don't sort of see Ajahn Sona walking anymore, because he has sort of a curtained off area, but you can hear him. And he's marching along, back and forth. So you can think that if this is, a way to sort of exercise the body a little bit in between sitting meditations, that makes sense. So in this practice, you just walk at a normal speed. And then also, if you're agitated, I always suggest to people that you match the speed of your walking to the speed of your brain. So if your brain's going a bit crazy, you may be doing jogging meditation to keep up with it. So what you're trying to do is abandon that thinking mind and just come back to the experience of the body moving. And so if your mind is going 100 miles an hour and your body's only going 1 mile an hour, the brain's going to win out, and that's where your attention's going to go. But if you speed up and say do jogging meditation, then you're going to match it, and then you have a greater chance of letting go of those thoughts and then focusing on the body. Now, I'll just make a little comment here that for restlessness, I've had several teachers tell me that the cure for restlessness is stillness, like not moving. And so you may want to practice that when you're doing your sitting meditation. But certainly if you're new to meditation, or if you're teaching meditation to somebody who knows nothing about it, they're not going to be able to do that. And I think this, like the jogging meditation, is going to give them an experience of a quieting of their mind that they probably won't be able to achieve if you just tell somebody who's naive to meditation just to sit down and not move. It's probably not going to work. But that's definitely instruction for once you have some strength to your meditation practice. But I found the walking or jogging meditation just excellent if your brain is going crazy. Okay, so the first, as I said, the first method here I'm teaching you is the Thai forest tradition style, where you just walk at the speed you feel like walking at. And as I said, I like to use Thich Nhat Hanh's sort of method, which gives you 3 things to focus on. So that really captivates the mind and helps pull it away from thoughts or other things that are happening in your brain and helps bring you strongly into the present moment. So the first thing you're going to be aware of is your foot touching the ground. So touching, 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 touching. So you're going to be aware of that sensation. Meanwhile, you're following your breath and you're aware of when you're breathing in and when you're breathing out. And now you're going to combine those two. So as your feet are alternately touching the ground, you can count as you're breathing in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you start breathing out, and now you count the breathing out steps 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you start breathing in 1, 2, 3. Now you start breathing out 1, 2, 3, 4. It absolutely doesn't matter how many steps you're taking. All you're doing is giving your brain a lot to focus on. So it's not upstairs there hassling around with all of those thoughts in your mind. It's bringing you into the present moment, feeling your feet touching the ground, feeling your body expanding, contracting with the in and out breath, and combining those two. And if you're agitated at all, this is very rapidly calming. So when I used to take people out, like with jogging meditation to get them calmed down, they wouldn't have to do the jogging for very long, and then they could then they could go down to a fast walk and then to a slow walk, and then come in and sit and do sitting meditation. Okay, so I'm just going to pause here for a couple of minutes and just let you walk back and forth across the room, just practicing this. Just walking at the speed that feels comfortable to you, and then counting how many steps on your in breath, how many steps on your out breath, and then We'll be back here in a minute or so. Okay, I realize I forgot to mention one thing. I'll just give you a chance to get back seated. So with this style, like if you're walking back and forth in a room, you're going to rapidly hit the opposite wall. And with this form, you just do a rapid turnaround, or same speed as you're walking. So you'll come to the wall and then you'll just turn and carry on. So with the Mahãsī style that I'm going to be teaching next, it's a sort of a much slowed down process. With this one, you just, as you're coming towards the wall, you just about face and go back the other way. And you probably notice that out breaths are longer than in breaths. You know, you probably get more steps in on an out breath than on an in breath. Okay, any questions on just the Thai style of walking meditation before we go on to the Mahãsī style? Everybody's good? Okay. So this is the style I use mostly. But if I'm in a meditation retreat and I'm developing a lot of samadhi, a lot of stillness, but I need to get up and, move my body just needs some, it's been sitting too long and needs to stretch, then I might do this. This is when I'll do the Mahãsī style, which is a very slowed down style. So now it's matching where I'm at. I'm in a state of stillness now, and I don't want to disrupt it by, doing fast walking. I want to do a slow walking because that's now matching where my being is at. I've been developing this stillness. And so you start with one step, like just feeling an entire step, and then we're going to break that step down into 6 parts. So at the beginning, it's just going to be kind of like breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. And then when you hit that wall, then you can come and stand, and you can just be aware for a moment of standing. Just feel the experience of standing. And then set an intention for, are you going to turn to the right or turn to the left? So be aware of which direction you're intending to turn. And then then mindfully turn, sort of turning, 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 turning. Then pause for a moment and be aware of standing again. Then be aware of your intention of which foot are you going to start walking with. Are you going to start with your left or with your right? So just be aware of that intention and then start again. Breathing in, breathing out, breathing in. Okay? So any questions on that? or else I'll just give you a minute to just practice one step Mahãsī style across the room and back a few times. Okay, I'll just give you a moment to sit down and we'll do the two-step. Okay, so now we're just going to break that down into two steps, which is going to be lifting and placing. So it's lifting, placing, lifting, placing, lifting, placing. And then we'll do that with the breath. Breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. Okay, so I'll let you go back and forth across the room doing that a couple of times. Okay, I'll let you get back to your seat and we'll do three-step. Okay, so now we're just going to break it down into three parts. So now it's going to be lifting, forward, placing, lifting, forward, placing, lifting, forward, placing, lifting, forward, placing, lifting, forward, placing. So I might do the lifting and forward on the in-breath and the placing on the out-breath. So breathing in, breathing out, Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. Actually, since the out breath is longer, then maybe do the lifting on the in breath and the forward and placing on the out breath. Okay, so I'll practice that across the room a couple of times. Okay, I'll let you get back to your seats.
Sanghamitta, I have a question. When you are placing your forward step, does it matter if your back step is fully grounded, or can it be lifted to your toes?
Because we're slowing this down, it makes sense for your back foot to be fully grounded.
Okay,
Yeah,
thanks.
you're welcome. Okay, so we're breaking the step down into 4 parts. So now we're raising our heel, lifting the foot, bringing it forward, placing, raising, lifting, 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 forward, placing. And then you can put this with your breath as well. So you could have in breath, raising, lifting, out breath, forward, placing. And if you notice there, when I took this big step, then my heel was automatically pulling off. Well, we're not going anywhere with walking meditation. And so just take smaller steps so that doesn't happen. Raise, lift, forward a little bit, place. Raise, lift, forward, place. In breath, out, out. Okay, I'll let you practice that back and forth a couple of times. 4 parts. Okay, I'll let you come back to your seats and we'll do the next part. Any questions so far?
I have a couple.
Sure. Great.
I know this might be a dumb question, but I like doing it with my eyes closed. But there's two problems. You might run into something, or I kind of lose my balance a little bit, so I feel kind of wobbly as I'm on that one foot. I'm taking shorter. I'm not taking as wide of steps, which is good. So for balance, should I keep my eyes open?
Yeah, it's
I
certainly
would,
recommended. I mean, you don't have them wide open. They're just like you can just have them open a slit and you're looking ahead, a few feet ahead at the floor. So you're not wide-eyed looking around. They're just barely open, just to
okay.
see the floor in front of you.
Okay, so looking down. Okay.
Yeah.
And then should you take more like linear steps or sort of more a wider stance as you're
I
walking, or
think
does it matter?
it really doesn't matter, and certainly having a broader based stance will help you feel steadier because as we slow this down, then you are going to wobble more, than if you're walking along quickly. And so having a wider, as I said, the Buddha did not give any instructions. These are all skillful means devised by teachers. So if something, if you tweak these instructions a bit and, uh, to something that fits better for you, like go for it. um,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, yoga and balance have never been my strength. So
Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, so I think we're up to 5. So now so we've got raising, lifting, forward, and now you're going to touch with your toe and then place. Raise, lift, forward, touch, place. Raise, lift, forward, touch, place. Raise, lift, forward, touch, place. And then if we put this with the breath, and because our out breath is usually longer, we'll put 3 of the components with the out breath and 2 with the in breath. So we'll breathe in as we raise and lift, and breathe out as we go forward, touch, place. Breathe in as we raise and lift. Breathe out as we go forward, touch, place. Breathe in, raise, lift. Breathe out, forward, touch, place. And remember, you're matching your movements to your breath, not your breath to your movements. Breathe in, raise, lift. Breathe out, forward, touch, place. Okay, practice that. We won't go back and forth because we'll run out of our meditation time because this is slow going. So do one or a half time or one time across the floor. Okay, if you want to come back to your seats.
Mary, what's the importance of matching your breath to your steps? Like, what does it matter? Like, why don't you just let breath look after itself?
You can absolutely do that. What I appreciated about matching the two is it gives my brain a ton of stuff to focus on. And so if I'm at the beginning of my meditation, if I'm tending to have a lot of thoughts, then it really just sort of cuts through that. But yes, feel free to drop that matching between the breath and the steps and just focus on, on the steps. I just found it very, very powerful for cutting through the proliferating mind.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, and Thich Nhat Hanh's the only one who teaches that. Like people like Ajahn Brahm, he said, you don't focus on the breath when you're doing walking meditation. So, different teachers are going to say different things. So that certainly lets you know that you can tweak this in the way that works best for you. Any other questions? We're on our final one now, putting it into 6 components. So we're raising, lifting, forward, and now we're lowering, touching, placing. Raising, lifting, forward, lowering, touching, placing. Raising, lifting, forward, lowering, touching, placing. Raising, lifting, forward, lowering, touching, placing. Okay, and we can do 3 on the in-breath and 3 on the out-breath. Breathing in, raising, lifting, forward. Out-breath, lowering, touching, placing. In-breath, raising, lifting, forward. Out-breath, lowering, touching, placing. In-breath, raising, lifting, forward. Out-breath, lowering. Whoops, and I'm falling over. Lowering, touching, placing. In-breath, raising, lifting, forward. Out-breath, lowering, touching, placing. Okay, any questions on that?
Yeah, just quick. And it has to be very distinct movements, right? You don't flow them through. Like it has to be very mechanical, stepwise like that.
Yeah, this is the Mahãsī tradition. You don't have to do this tradition, right? You could do the Thai forest tradition and just march along. So, and this, if you're not in a state of stillness, this method may not make a lot of sense to you. But if you're sitting, like if you're at an all day or a week long retreat and you're really developing a sense of stillness, you may not want to get up and march and disturb that stillness. You may want to get up and do this very slow, careful walking. Like that's when it's going to make sense to you.
Okay, yeah, thanks. Yeah, so the method is breaking it down like that.
This is the
That's perfect.
Mahãsī. This is the
Yeah.
Mahãsī method. Yes, just to help you be very aware of every moment. Yes. Any other questions? Okay, so I'll ring the bell, and this is our meditation time now. And so you can do sitting, or you can practice any of these methods of meditation that we've gone over, of any of these methods of walking meditation, or for those confined to a chair to do the arm movements. And we'll meet back in half an hour here for our discussion.